introduce everybody to Brad Sugars, the founder of the wildly successful ActionCOACH, a worldwide organization. Brad is a speaker extraordinaire and a marketing guru. And back in January of 2018 in San Diego at one of the ActionCOACH Business Excellence Forums, I heard him talk about these 20 biggest marketing mistakes. And you know, the irony, Brad, is I'm a PhD in marketing, I've taught marketing, and I'm listening to you saying, wow, you know, this, I did learn a lot. And I said, wouldn't our listeners really benefit from this? You know, there are probably hundreds upon hundreds of people in the audience there, but this will reach thousands upon thousands of people. And you know, every one of the mistakes that you talked about, I was shaking my head, yes, wow. So I think the topic that you covered was the 20 biggest mistakes that businesses make in marketing.
Yeah.
So let's dig in. Let's start talking about some of these.
Well, thank you, buddy. As a marketer and a business person, I don't know whether I'm a marketer first or a businessman first or a salesman first, but all in all, marketing's got to go in front because they bring the people in for the salespeople to chat to and to do the business with. So number one mistake, Tony, is a very important one. They don't have any people. They don't have a marketing team. They don't have any humans on the ground doing marketing. You know, back in the days when marketing was you placed your money. I mean, you placed money in an ad or TV, radio, newspaper. There you sort of three things you got to choose from. That made sense. Today, a lot of marketing is human capital. A lot of marketing is about the person sitting behind a desk. Your marketing budget has got to be almost half wages and half actual thing, because who's doing the LinkedIn posts? Who's writing the blogs? Who's putting the stuff out there on social media? Who's doing the website construction and SEO and all of these things? It's human capital that is a big part of it. So I always say to people, you know, how many hours per week in your business are actually allocated to marketing? And the number of hours per week determines the actual success level of the marketing team in most cases. So, you know, you've got to look at how do we hire a marketing person, I think. And there's three main types of marketing people when you break it down. There's the direct marketers. These are the people that, you know, from the telemarketing to the direct mail pieces to the email marketing, they're the people that handle it direct. The next type of marketing person is the online person. This is the person that is doing the social media, doing the email, doing the website, doing the SEO. And then the third type is the social marketer, the person doing networking or building strategic partnerships. So you got to look at what type of person do I want to buy in my business that will generate leads for me and mine. So that's mistake one, Tony. No one actually doing marketing, no one employed full-time to do it. And because every business owner will tell me this, oh, I will do it. And then, of course, we know they don't. They get run out of time and it just doesn't happen.
Well, Brad, you know, it's interesting. As you were talking about that at that meeting in January, I was kind of shaking my head because for the first several years of our assessment business, that's what I did. I was the one who did everything, but I could only go so far, could only spread myself so thin. And a real turning point in our business was when I hired my first full-time, honest-to-goodness marketing CMO, Matt Dixon. And I mean, he did things that I totally ignored and should have done.
Yeah.
And right after we hired him, a couple of years later, we hired a person to do all of our social marketing, our networking, you know, that whole thing. And then sometime this year, we hired another full-time salesperson who is out there doing all the networking. So all three of those elements, we finally have done.
You know, it's funny, Tony, and you can know marketing, you can understand marketing, doesn't mean you do it. You know, and that's the thing. I know how to eat properly and I know how to exercise, but unless someone actually makes my, you know, meals properly, I'll just eat whatever's there. Unless my trainer arrives, I'll do a little bit of working out, but I won't do a lot. Now, number two problem, Tony, is the big me focus, the big us focus, where the sale, even like the website, this is a classic, right? You go to someone's website, and at the top of the first page of the website It doesn't say, here's the 7 reasons why XYZ company is the best for you to buy your ABC widgets, right? It says the company name. Every email that goes out says, we do this, we are that, we are the best at this. We have 20 years experience doing such and such. Stop it. We all know in marketing, and if you reread every single document that touches a customer in your business and remove the word we, I, us, our, and put in the word you, you've just got to change the focus. See, in marketing, the we focus breaks all the rules that you teach in sales. It's got to be about them. So if I'm sitting there and reading a document that says, we have 20 years experience, and flip it to, you will benefit from our 20 years experience. Well, here's how our 20 years experience benefits you. Here's the 7 ways our 20 years experience benefits you. All of these things that are the focus on them. And that's why I teach a simple formula, FAB, fact, advantage, benefit. State the fact, move it to the advantage, and then state the so that, and what this means to you is benefit. I'm buying let's say it's a tire. It's a steel belted radial, which is a stronger, sturdier, longer lasting tire, so that you get great safety and fantastic value for money. Fact, advantage, benefit. You got to have the word you got to go right to the benefit if you want to do good marketing. You can't be about you and how cool you are.
Brad, about a year or so ago at one of our conferences, we had a fantastic speaker, Patricia Fripp. She's a Hall of Fame speaker.
Known Patricia a long while. Great speaker.
Yeah, so that's exactly what she talked about. She showed examples of very well-known speakers who, and you saw a counter that she had at the bottom of their speeches with all the I's and all the U's. And there were 3 to 4 times more I's than there were U's. And, so she was telling the audience, to focus on them, not you.
Yeah. So the third mistake is pricing. Third mistake is almost always having the wrong pricing model. And when I sit with business people and explain to them that your price is marketing, your price is not the cost of the product. Your price is not that. Your price is all about marketing. See, Porsche understands this. Mercedes understands this. Flip it over, Chevy, it's like you got to understand that if you walk into a store, Tony, or you go online and you look at something and you say, okay, there's the cheapest one, there's the middle one, there's the most expensive one. Immediate human assumption, immediate. The cheapest one is the worst. The most expensive, the best. Now, it's not always true, but that's the assumption, and that's behind the marketing of the product or the service. So what I try and teach people is the difference between discounting and adding value. Discounting is the worst mistake you can make in business. Price-focused shoppers who are not loyal, won't stay around for long. If you have to discount to get a customer, you've just lost that customer and you've lost your profit, because they're not coming back unless you discount again and unless you're the cheapest again. So that doesn't work. Adding value, on the other hand, is where we give away, instead of giving away cash, we give away a product or a service of a value that doesn't have that much cost. Right. So, for example, when I always teach in my seminars, because I always wear a jacket when I'm doing seminars and stuff, I said, this jacket was $1,000. If they'd given me 10% off, I would have saved $100. Instead, they gave me a shirt worth $140. Guess how much they probably paid for the shirt? Maybe $30, $40. But they gave value rather than discount for price. Always remember, if you are cheaper than your competitors, what it tells the market is you are not as good as your competitors. So you got to learn how to sell. See Tony for that stuff. You got to learn how to sell. Or read my books on sales. They're pretty good too. But you've got to make sure that you are pricing yourself according to your market, not pricing yourself according to your cost or your competitors or that. Who do you want to be selling to, and price yourself accordingly?
Okay, great. I agree with all that. I can't add anything to that.
You know, it's funny when you talk logic, it's hard for people to disagree, but the problem is someone out there watching this, Tony, is disagreeing. They're sitting there thinking, well, you know, it's harder to sell in my product. You don't understand, Brad. When I'm selling, people are focused on price. Good, stop doing that. Point 4 of the mistakes is they don't know their numbers. You know, and this one is a killer for marketing. It always has been. It always will be. If you don't know your marketing numbers, how many leads did you get today? How many people that called you today came from your ad in the newspaper? How many people that emailed you today came direct from your website? How many came from referrals? If you're not asking the simple questions, by the way, how did you find out about us? If you're not finding out from people whether they're a repeat customer, a new customer, if you're not asking these questions, you won't know your numbers, you mess it up. So that's why I teach 2 things. First of all, test. Second is measure. Now, test is basically, Tony, and you know this real well because that's part of your business, is testing what things people do. But 80% of marketing will fail. I'll state this to you directly. 80% of marketing will fail. Now, what does that mean? That means you got to test 10 different ads, 10 different headlines, 10 different emails, 10 different whatever you're doing, 10 different web pages, 10 different buttons on your website, 10 different email subject lines. You got to test those things. Now, this takes time, energy, and effort, but it's the science of marketing. If I test, and I'll give you a simple example that a couple of years back, we do an ad in Success Magazine, right? And it's $14,000 an ad. And it's like, okay, so it's got to work. We measure our results. We ask them, find out who came from the ad. How did you find out about us? I saw you in Success Magazine. Great. The headlines started to reduce. The responses were dwindling. So we had to come up with a new headline. The marketing team sat around, brainstormed a dozen different headlines. I put in 2 into the things. I happened to be in the office that day. And we had a young intern. He put in 1. Now, here's the question. I'm the guru. I know everything about marketing, right? Whose headline got the best result?
The intern.
The intern! Now, here's the crazy thing. If you think you're good at marketing, you're a crazy moron. Like you said, I'm a marketing guru. No, I'm not. The client is the guru. The customer is the guru. We took all those headlines, threw them up on Google, gave them each a $20 budget, and said, which one gets the most clicks? By the end of the day, we know that his headline got 16 times more clicks than our previous best headline. Mm-hmm. So his headline works. Good. Give the kid a job. Now, keep him on stuff. So that's testing, and you got to do that with all marketing. And if you're lazy, you won't do it. If you don't have a marketing person, point number 1, you won't do it. Measuring is just finding the details. Like, I'll give you a simple example. One of our clients in the clothing business, retail business, we started asking questions about what's their conversion rate. And of course, in the beginning, they measured and they said, well, our conversion rate is around 40%. So 4 out of 10 people that come into the store buy stuff. I said, that's fantastic. I said, let's measure it in more detail. What's your conversion rate per salesperson? Of course, there's one guy at 80-something and one gal at 20-something. All right, we got to bring her up. And then we started measuring, what about when you sell to old people versus young people, male versus female? What about when you're selling casual clothing versus suits and ties? So we start measuring all of these things and we find out who's great at it. Good, teach everyone else how to do that. Who's not great at it? Good. You're no longer allowed in the suits department. You're in casual, okay? Stay in casual, you stay in suits. These sorts of things. Gotta do it. Must do it. Can I go to point 5?
Yeah, I just want to make one point on that. Every Thursday, we have my team, there are 6 of us in the marketing and sales area, and we do an analysis every Thursday. We have a 1-hour Zoom call, just like we're doing here, and we literally go through all the numbers, all the leads that came in, where they came from, which number was closed, which ones weren't, which are in the hopper, still possibilities, what's working, what's not working. So, the whole concept of measuring and testing is significant.
Yeah.
No question about it. I wish more people did it.
I love it. Now, point 5 is they have a lack of strategies. They use just 1 or just 2 strategies for all of the 5 areas, because I teach the 5 ways of business. And anyone who's watching this, if you don't know my 5 ways, jump on YouTube, Brad Sugar's 5 ways, you'll watch that video. But when you look at leads, conversion, a number of transactions, average sale, and margins, all 5 strategies, you got to have a minimum 5, all 5 areas, you got to have minimum 5 strategies in. It's a minimum 5 by 5. Now, ultimately, for lead generation, if you want a growth business, lead generation, you got to have 7 to 10 strategies that are working if you want real growth business. If you've only got 2 or 3 strategies for new customers coming to your business, it cannot be a growth business. It just can't. Because you're losing enough, you're only replacing enough to maintain stability. So we've got to start looking at lead generation and say, okay, what are our 5, 6, 7, 10? In my first ever book, Instant Cash Flow, I think I wrote about 70 different strategies for lead generation. I say to the average person, list out all the lead generation strategies you know. They come up with like 7. And it's like, okay, now they might come up with 9 or 10 now because they'll say Facebook, LinkedIn, they'll list off all the social medias, but that to me is just one strategy. I mean, it's one strategy, social media, great. So you sit down and you start thinking about, until you open your eyes to what's possible, it's very hard to come up with 7 to 10 strategies that are tested, measured, proven, and as long as you allocate budget, it brings in leads for a business. Now, the only thing we know about business is the game keeps changing. The rules stay approximately the same, but the game keeps changing because the players change. So you got to keep adjusting to it, and that's why you got to keep trying new marketing methods, keep trying new strategies for converting customers into sales, keep trying new strategies for repeat business, keep trying new strategies for average sale. You got to work all 5 areas if you want multiplied. The simple formula for leverage, divide to multiply. Break it down so you build it up. Point number 6, no goals. They don't have a goal for marketing. If you don't have marketing goals, you're crazy. Now, I teach granular goal setting, Tony. I think that too many businesses have one big goal and not enough small goals. They don't have daily goals or hourly goals. They don't have the minute, okay, how many leads do we want from LinkedIn today? How many leads do we want from the newspaper in the next hour? How many leads do we want from telemarketing in the next 1 hour type thing? We got to get more granular in it. So even simple things like I mentioned the 5 ways, okay? So leads, how many are you getting currently? What's your goal? Because a marketing plan is literally saying, okay, here's where we're at. We got to get to there. What's our plan to go from A to B? Conversion rate, it's currently 27%. We got to get it to 42%. Great. What's our strategies to go from 27 to 42? You must set granular goals in your marketing, and every marketing person in a company needs goals. What's your goal? Okay, my goal is to get SEO to achieve these numbers, this length of time on site, this number of bounce backs, this number, this number. The more granular you set goals in marketing and any area of life or business, the more granular you set those goals, the more results you get in life. It's not complex. So point 6 is not having goals for what they're doing. Point 7, no budget. They don't have a marketing budget. Now, guess why no one has a marketing budget, Tony? Well, because marketing doesn't work. It's just a waste of money. I put money into marketing, it doesn't work. Well, why doesn't it work? Well, you don't have any people to do it. It's got a you focus. Your pricing's way out of whack with who you're trying to target with your thing. You don't test, you don't measure. You're using just one strategy and you're hoping like heck it works. Because here's the average person's marketing plan in business. Hey, someone called from the radio. They said they got a great deal on ads. Should we do that? Yeah, throw some dollars at it. No, it didn't work. Okay. So how do we budget for marketing? Well, the way we budget for marketing, I wrote a whole book on this subject called Buying Customers, and I've just rewritten the book, Buying Customers 2.0. And the reason I had to write that book is because you have to understand that you cannot just get new customers. You actually have to buy them. You actually have to invest money to buy a customer. If you put $1,000 into a marketing campaign and you get 10 new customers, you just bought $100 a customer. Now, the question is, what's the lifetime value of that customer in order to make a profit out of that customer? So you sit there and you look at your cost. We call it acquisition cost. What's your cost of acquiring a new customer? How much do you spend to buy a customer right now? Now, again, you got to test and measure to know that. You got to measure the results to know those numbers. Let's imagine. Well, actually, I'll go back to when I first learned this strategy, Tony, got to be almost 20 years ago. I was working with a gentleman who owned a bakery. Now, in his bakery, he ran an ad every week in the local newspaper, $300 for his advertisement. Now, I asked him the question, how many responses do you get to your advertisement? Guess his answer?
I don't know.
Exact answer he gave me. I said, and like, I just sit there and go, isn't that stupid? I said, would you pay someone $300 a week and check if if they turned up to work or not? Well, of course I would. Well, if you're paying $300 a week for an ad, shouldn't you check that it works? So he started asking customers, by the way, how did you find out about us? And of course, what we found out is he got about 3 customers a week from his ad. Great. So you're spending $100 to buy a customer. He said, I know. I said, how much do they spend when they come into your store? He said, about $4.50. I said, well, great. You're losing $95.50 for every customer you buy. That's genius. You got to get them back to your store approximately, because his profit on the $4.50 was about $1.20. So you got to get them back to your store approximately 80 times to recoup your money on that customer. That's just crazy. And he looked at me and goes, well, should I stop? I said, no, let's just change the ad. Because you got to buy customers at a cheaper price. So I wrote him a new ad. Now, he almost died when I showed him this ad. Because I tried one of his chocolate eclairs. They were great. I wrote the ad. Free chocolate eclair. Award-winning European bakery giving away free chocolate eclairs to anyone that cuts out and brings in this advertisement. Blah, 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 blah. I showed him the ad. Guess what his response was? Can't possibly do that. There's no way. He says to me, Brad, do you know how many hundreds of people would come in for that to get a free eclair? I'm looking at him and go, no, how many 100 people would come in to get the free eclair? Now, interestingly enough, the first week was about 560 people. Here's the thing. The eclair costs him about 30 cents to make. Okay, sugar, flour, wages, all that stuff. So 500 people came into his store that had never been to his store before to get a free eclair. Now, while they were there, because I trained the front counter stuff, while they were there, they spent on average $5.50. How come? When you get something for free, you feel like, oh, I should buy some other things while I'm here. Fantastic. We also collected their name and details because we said, oh, fantastic, you're here for the free eclair. Excellent. Fill in your name and details. We got to put them on our database, so we've got repeat business that we can build out of these people. It's crazy. 1 in every 17 people that came in for the free eclair grabbed the eclair, did a runner. It's people overestimate the numbers that won't come back and that sort of thing. But, in the end, you have to understand that you are buying customers. And if you allocate budget to it, you don't allocate, hey, I've spent $5,000 a month on marketing. You say, all right, we buy customers for $10 a piece. Let's just use a round number. We need 50 new customers a month. Great. So there's your budget. 50 times 10 is your budget because that's how many new customers you need per month. Now, if you want 100, it's 1,000. Now, if you're buying customers for $100 a piece and you want 50 of them, you know your budget. Not complex. I try and make everything simple, Tony. You know that. That's my goal in business. It's to make it simple.
Simple and practical.
Yeah. Able to use it. Able to do it. So that's point number 7. And once I teach people that, interestingly enough, Tony, they want to increase the amount of money they put into marketing because they see it's an investment. It's not an expense. It's not a cost. I put out $5, I get back 10. Great. If the bank offered you, give me 5, I'll give you back 10 in a month, you would go to the bank every month with 5. Marketing is
a lot more than 5.
Yeah, as many 5s as you had, I'm pretty sure. But that's the whole thing. You should be buying as many customers as your business can handle. Not more, not less, as many as you can handle. And that's what a marketing budget has to look like. So we need to make sure we know that we're buying them. Now, here's an interesting one, Tony. When I first learned this strategy, I owned a dog food business. Now, in my dog food business, I was buying customers with radio advertising for about $22. With TV, I was buying for about $4.50. But the TV only worked between the hours of 9 and 11 when I can get a 3-minute infomercial type ad and that sort of thing. And I still needed more customers to keep our volumes and growth rate that we needed to justify the capital. And so I'm sitting there thinking, okay, where else am I going to get them? So I went to newspaper and I was testing ad after ad. And the best I could do in the newspaper was buying customers for $55 a piece. Now, when a customer came to us, they spent $108, of which $38 was profit. So I had a marketing budget of $38. Does that make sense? Yes, I can spend up to $38. Now, $22 for radio, brilliant. $22 out, $38 in. $4.50 for TV, brilliant. $4.50 out, $38 in. Newspaper, the best I could get, being a guru and all, $55. Now, here's the question I ask in my seminars. It's a pretty important question. Did I keep running the newspaper ads? Now, what do you think most people say at the seminar? No.
They would say no.
Yeah, most people say no. And I said, well, hang on. I did keep running them. And it's not because I'm crazy. It's because my average customer came back every 6 weeks for 3 years. So my average customer, we made about 800 profit on, thousands in revenue, but about 800 in profit. So yeah, it wasn't an unlimited marketing budget. I had to wait. I call that an investment acquisition. So I had to get them back a second time to recoup my marketing money in that customer. Now, it was still worth doing because I needed the volume to grow the business, but I had to really think about my marketing in that time to say, hey, I don't want to do this crazy way. I want to do this in a way that makes real sense.
No, I think these are some great points in terms of growing and evaluating your business and where to put your money. So I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy listening to this.
Well, I hope so, buddy, because, the interesting thing about business people is that we don't know what we don't know. And it doesn't matter how long you've been in business or whatever. If you're not reading a new book or learning a new thing this week, your business, if I can be really blunt, Tony, because, I'm Australian and you're from the right side of America where bluntness is okay. You don't live there anymore, but, you understand blunt. We grow to our level of incompetence. And if your level of incompetence in marketing is level 1, then that's as far as your business can grow. Sales grows a business one customer at a time. Marketing grows at 1,000 customers at a time. So you've got to get good at marketing if you really want success in business. There's no two ways about it. I mean, dang, what am I at now? 16 books on business and wealth and investing, and I still sit there every day. I read new stuff and just get blown away that, dang, why haven't I learned that earlier? So, yeah, but that's a big important one. Point 8, no marketing plan. They don't have a marketing plan. If you multiply the number of hours that you invest in marketing by the number of pages in your current marketing plan, that's about your success rate. And if you got 5 hours and 2 pages, you're not doing too well. A solid marketing plan is the cornerstone of a business plan. I mean, you cannot plan the needs of, how many salespeople do we need? Well, that depends on marketing. How many operations people do we need? Well, that depends on marketing. How many desks do we need? Well, that depends on marketing. What's our production schedule? Depends on marketing. Everything starts with marketing in a business. So not having a marketing plan. Now, guess what are the 2 biggest reasons, Tony, I get when I ask in seminars or when I'm working with clients, why don't you have a marketing plan? Take a guess.
One, I would think, is I don't have time.
Don't have time to do a marketing plan because it's a waste of money and it just loses money anyway, so it goes back to that previous one of no budget.
Right.
Second one, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't know what to put in a marketing plan. So I make people then sit at a table and say, okay, write down what are 10 things you think should be in a marketing plan. Guess what they amazingly do? Come up with 10 things that should be in a marketing plan. But then you flip it over, buddy, and you and I both know this. We're both educators primarily before we're motivators, and that is that if you've read 0 books on marketing, don't expect to be good at marketing. It's like, I remember one time at one of your seminars, someone saying to you, well, I'm not that good at sales. And you just sit there and say, well, how many books on sales you read? And they said, none. How many sales training courses you've been to? None. Well, of course you're no good at sales.
That's right.
And the same is true for writing a marketing plan. First marketing plan I wrote, I think it took me 6 months. I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't read enough about it. I just, but if you don't actually start, and a marketing plan starts with market research. I mean, you gotta know who your market is. It's like, for me with ActionCOACH, our business coaches everywhere in the world, whenever they start, because, being in 80 countries, we have to give them and say, listen, this is how you put your plan together. So the first thing they got to do is research the market. How many businesses are there in your marketplace? What size are they? What shape? How many dentists? How many tradespeople are there? How many locksmiths are there? Because you can't design marketing until you know who the market is. Young kid the other month, my wife's a friend we were at a party. And this kid comes over and he says, now, everyone says you're a genius at business. Can I just ask you a few questions? And I said, perfect. I'm here at a party drinking. Great time to get advice from me. But, it came with a little bit free at that point, and freely too. He was going to open a new business, coffee shop. He starts telling me all about his plan with the coffee shop. I said, oh, so where are you going to put it? He said, I found this great site. It's like 5 minutes from where I live. It's perfect. said, how many coffee shops are there around there? He said, I don't know. I said, how much traffic goes by on that street corner? I don't know. How many people in that neighborhood drink coffee? I don't know. How much do they spend on coffee on average in that neighborhood? I don't know. Like, you're about to put your life savings down the drain because you're not doing the research to understand. Now, a marketing plan has to be built on a calendar. All good plans are built on calendars. They're not built on section 1, section 2. They're built on a calendar. What are you doing in January? What are you marketing in February? How are you marketing in, all those sorts of things. But you got to go over your product, your pricing, your competitors. You got to do a SWOT analysis if you're going to do good marketing. You can't not do this stuff. And people often say to me, well, I'll just hire someone. They'll do it. Okay, let me just ask you a question. It goes back to our first mistake. If you don't know anything about marketing, and you're going to hire a marketing person, what questions are you going to ask them to know if they're any good at marketing?
Yeah, that's a good point.
and the only answer people give me, well, I'll look and see if they got a degree or not. Now, I don't know about you, but last time I saw a kid come out of college with a degree, they were about as useless as, the old saying. But you sit there and you think, yeah, they went to school, they learned and they understand marketing, but day to day, yeah, give them all my books. In fact, just do that. Hire someone, give them all my books, make them watch this video and all my other videos and Tony's videos, and then they'll get better at it, all right? Hire good, train great. Remember that one.
Yes.
So putting that plan together, Tony, is also really important because until we understand the type of marketing we want to do, we don't even know what type of marketing person we want to hire. I mean, you sit and you think, if you want to do mostly social marketing, okay, well, you've actually got to hire someone who's good with people, who's more a high eye and willing to go out to networking functions, probably already has a large network to bring it. And this is the craziest thing. People say, I don't know if I want to hire a marketing person. I just hired a new marketing person for one of my companies, right? And you sit there and you look at it. She's brought more networks and more contacts to our business than we could have spent tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands cultivating. Hiring a marketing person that already has a network is the cheapest marketing in the world. Hiring a salesperson with connections, cheapest in the world. If you hire a salesperson who can't bring you business on day one, don't hire them. Oh, drives me insane. But until you do the plan, you don't know what type of marketing person you want to hire. So you're going to struggle with it and not achieve the results that you wanted to achieve. And that to me is real important. And, once someone evaluates marketing and understands it, and even more important, Tony, if I'm asking you to invest 20, 50, 100,000 a year in marketing, doesn't it make sense to have a plan?
No, absolutely.
So that to me is really important. Talk to your action coach. They can help you write your marketing plan.
Unquestionably. And by the way, you mentioned the SWOT analysis, just so that people know what that means.
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So go through all your competitors. Go through your competitors' websites. Take a look at your website. Compare it to theirs. Call your competitors. Mystery shop them. Learn what they're doing, what they don't do. There's a great book called American Icon about Alan Mulally, how he turned around Ford Motor Car Company. And one of the most interesting things is he said he went into the parking lot on day one and all he saw were Fords and Range Rovers and Jaguars, because at the time they owned Jaguar and Range Rover. And he said, well, where are the Toyotas? And everyone looked at him and said, why would we own Toyotas? Well, how do we know what Toyota's doing if we don't drive a Toyota? Go and buy me one of every single car from all of our competitors, and all of the executives, you must drive home a different car every day from our competitors. Learn what they're doing. Learn how they're doing it. I mean, it's crazy that people don't look at their competitors. I'll put it even more bluntly, Tony. If your customers know more about your competitors than your salespeople, you're done. You're done.
I agree.
So I know that's not about the plan, but it's off the topic, but it's on the topic. As the great speaker, Dr. Frederick I. Carter, Reverend Ike, used to say, I don't let my subject get in the way of what I have to say. Back to point number 9, okay? Point number 9 is thinking we're marketing when we're actually just doing sales. It's going after one sale at a time versus 100 sales at a time. So when I mentioned before that sales gets you one customer, see, going and doing networking is great, but it's a one customer at a time acquisition methodology. So instead of going to a networking function, run your own networking events. Bring 100 people to yourself rather than going and being one at a time type marketing. Even like telemarketing, people say, well, I've got a telemarketer. Okay, well, if telemarketing works, why wouldn't you have 100 of them? It's that philosophy of how do I get 100 customers at a time or 1,000 customers at a time rather than one at a time?
Right.
And so it's about, if sales-oriented marketing strategies are kind of outbound mode. I'm going out to the market. Real marketing is inbound, getting them to contact you, getting them to find you on the internet, getting them to find your store, getting them to call you. That's real marketing. And so philosophically, I have to help people understand that your goal is to have inbound calls. Your goal is not to be always going outbound. If you go back to simple things of testing and measuring, that's why when the phone rings, we answer the phone, and at some point we ask them the question, by the way, how did you find out about us? When they email off of your website or when they click a link on your website, you track and trace all of these things.
Right.
So you know where they're coming into you from versus you going out and doing it. Outbound's easier to measure. Inbound, you got to get a little more scientific and a little more measured in inbound to make sure you're getting the responses that you need. So I think that if I can be really direct with everyone here today, I'm going to try and use direct rather than the word blunt.
Okay.
If your phone is not ringing more inbound than you are outbound, your marketing isn't working. So when we start thinking of them coming to you, them finding you, this is where we start to understand that building a website, building social media is all about, how do people find me? How do they find me? What are they looking for? What are they searching for? Who will they be friends with that will refer me to them? How many ways can I make it easy for someone to find me? And so, back in the day, you just put billboards up everywhere, because if you're on the side of the road and there's billboards, then people can find you because they see the billboard and hey presto. Whereas today, a website is a billboard, a blog article is a billboard, a post on your social media, a video on YouTube. These are all, the level of content that we put out today is of vital importance. And if I can just spend a minute on content marketing, Tony, because I think that in today's marketplace, people really need to get the fact that content marketing is the highest priority online. See, and if I can go against my own talk here just for a second, just to make sure that I am the devil's advocate to myself, marketing is dying. Ratings and testimonials are growing. Marketing's dying, ratings and testimonials are growing. Now, what do I mean by that? If I find out about your company and then I go and do a Yelp or a Google ratings, and here's the challenge, Tony. I bet you half the people watching this video don't even know their Yelp score or their Google rating or their Facebook ratings. I bet you they don't even know it. And that's a killer. Not asking your best customers to sit in front of a camera and record a video about how great you are and to write down how great they think you are. Not asking your best customers to do that is tantamount to suicide in business today. So when we look at building content, the first content we got to build is ratings and testimonials. That has to be priority number one for every one of us in business. And there's the big ratings, Google and the Yelp and travel sites, but then there's the ones that are local, and there's also the ones that are industry specific. So you got to get real clear on your ratings on all of these. Testimonials, listen, you don't need to spend a fortune. I sit here, I got a big TV studio because I put out a lot of content and I film a lot of things, but you don't need that. All you need is an iPhone these days. Go and pay your 14-year-old kid to go and film your best customers and edit that stuff up online. They got more editing tools in Snapchat than you even need today. I mean, it's so simple. But that being said, you cannot outsell your best customer. Your best customer will outsell you every day of the week. So make sure that stuff is out there. And then when it comes to content about any business, I love doing Facebook Live because I do a Facebook Live video, 15 to 20 minutes. I'll do the 7 reasons for this or the 10 steps to that. Each of the 10 steps takes about a minute to 2 minutes. I give that to my team. I do it live, so it gets interaction straight away. It then gets shared on my YouTube channel, my Roku channel, my Amazon channel, my iTunes channel. Because, again, all billboards. How is someone going to find me? Someone who's on Roku, will they find me? Yes. Someone who's on Pandora, do they want to find me? Yes. People want to find you everywhere, and you got to put it out there in so many places that people can find you everywhere. That's marketing, real marketing. Now, take that then to the next step and say, okay, take that 20-minute video, cut it into 10 1 to 2 minute videos. So there I got stuff to do all week. Listen back to it and find the 10 gems that I said, one about each of the things. There's 10 memes that just got created. And a meme is just a picture with the words on the front of it, gang, if you don't know what a meme is. And then you got 10 to 20 Twitter statements that are right there as well. So from one video, I got an entire week's marketing content to go out there to all the different sites, all the different channels, all my different customers. I can create videos that are specific to a target audience. I can create videos specific to a product, specific to a service, specific to a geography. I can create anything I want that gets marketing. Video marketing today is at the highest it's been. See, the change that's happening is we used to go to TV and everyone watched television. A vast majority of the marketplace today does not watch television live. They watch it on streaming. They binge watch a TV show. So they're binge watching on Roku, they're on iTunes, they're on these things. So that's where they're going. Help them find you from these channels. They're binge watching videos. My kids binge watch videos on Instagram. They binge watch on Snapchat. It used to be Vine, but Vine died on the line. It's another one that got killed off. They binge watch. Adults binge watch on Facebook. Kids don't go on Facebook anymore. That's why Facebook had to buy Instagram, just to keep up with Snapchat. So you got to look at this stuff, Tony, and if you are going to get people coming to you, you got to give them relevant content to your target audience and what they want to know about. And, hey, here's a simple lesson. What's Tony doing today? Tony's making a video, and he's making me do the work to create content for his site. You're the genius, Tony. Why am I teaching this stuff? Dang.
I love it.
So that is point 9. Go after 100 people finding you rather than you finding one. That's real marketing and the way we should be doing marketing. The only marketing that works is consistent marketing. Okay? You are better off to have a small ad every single day than one large ad during the Super Bowl.
Agreed.
And if your marketing isn't consistent, it's out there every day, every week, every month in front of people, consistently. It's like even with social media, if you're not posting daily, don't worry about it. It's not working. Okay? If you're not consistent in your marketing, it will not build brand. It won't build loyalty. It won't build trust. It won't build all those things. A lot of times, and I have a lot of my coaches work with accountants, and they say, geez, accountants take a while to buy from you. I said, let me tell you why they take a while. They watch you for a year, and they see if you're still around. Then they watch you for 2 years and see if you're getting results. And they keep watching. They'll watch your videos online for a month. They'll see if you post on LinkedIn every day, every week. See, this is why consistency is the winner, because twofold. One is people are watching and building know, like, and trust with you. They have to build that know, like, trust philosophy, and consistency does that. But the other thing it does is I don't know what day my customer wants to buy from me. I don't know what day they're going to look for me. And if I'm going to be found, I need to be there every single day, waiting for them to go, hey, I was thinking about buying from you. Magically, we're advertising today, same as we do 364 other days of the year.
Right.
So being consistent, I guess, Tony, is a major part of marketing success. We got to get them to find us, but we got to be consistently on the ball helping them find us.
And I think that consistency is important because you have to be there when the person's ready to buy. If
Yeah.
you're inconsistent, the marketing, the ads, whatever that you might do today or next month or whatever may not be the day that the person's ready to buy. So I really like that idea.
And you just lost to the person who had an ad running today. So you might have spent all that money to build Know, Like, and Trust, but someone else advertised to them today or called them today or emailed them today. It's like a simple thing, repeat business, consistency of communication. If you're not communicating with your past customers, on a consistent basis. In different industries, it's different time frames, but, some industries it's daily, weekly. The absolute outside today should be monthly. I used to say the outside was quarterly back when we had to mail things to people, but now with all technology, if you're not consistently communicating every single month, then you're crazy. But even today, 4 or 5 times a day with your social media databases, because people forget, Tony, that social media is just a database. It's your database. And you got to communicate to your database. And yeah, now Facebook makes us pay to communicate to our database, but it's cheaper than sending it through the post. So, think of it that way, I guess. So that's first 10, Tony, our first 10 big mistakes. So I'd love to see when people watch this, what are some things you're going to change and what was your biggest learnings or your biggest blinding flashes of the obvious from our session today?
Well, I can tell you one thing I'm going to do, Brad, is as soon as I get a copy of this video, I'm sending it to all of my marketing and sales people. There's some things that they could be doing better.
Yeah. Tony, even my team, I might make my team rewatch this video. They've seen me teach it a few times, but I might make them watch it too.
Repetition, repetition, repetition. And hopefully it will sink in. But no, this was a great, great session. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's session, and we'll do our last 10. I really appreciate everything that you've covered. Now, I heard you do this, let's say 10 months ago, and I remember what you said 10 months ago, but sometimes you hear things differently the second or third time through that you totally missed the first or second time through. So I did get some blinding flashes of the obvious just through our session today, so I thank you.
Well, a great teacher is always a great learner. So I'll see you tomorrow, buddy.
Okay, thanks, Brad. I appreciate it. Take care.